It's a huge problem when you think about our runaways that we have and how many of them are out here doing survival sex. See, because I don't even think we capture all that. And you think of the adults with the economy itself and how it's turned. We have older women coming in that are in need of assistance because they can't pay their rent, and if we can't help them, they're going to do what they have to do because they have children they have to take care of. Themselves they have to take care of. Then we talk about drug addiction. When we're talking about prostitution, an individual may find themselves exchanging sex just to supply their habit. So, and I'm not sure they have all the documentation on that to be able to give you accurate numbers. This is an underground organized crime that happens. So the majority of the youth, you will not even see them till they're like what we call at the end of the road, where they're not usable for anyone. So therefore they're out on the streets. So this is really big. It doesn't discriminate. The thing about prostitution is it doesn't care who you are, where you come from, what your morals and values are, because none of that's relevant when it comes to making money and exchanging a human being for cash. The predator wants what he wants, and that's sex. So it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, a boy or a girl, you're sellable. And that's sad to say here in the United States that we can sell a human being like we sell pizza. And the way that technology has stepped in, it's made it just as convenient. Vednita partnered with a program called Resource, which is located in Minneapolis. That program, I went to treatment from jail, and through their partnership, I was introduced to breaking free. Like I said, for the grace of God. And when I walked in the door, I met Vednita. The groups that they have, the educational support groups, helped me understand the dynamics of prostitution, what it really was versus what I called it, or what the people around me helped support me to think that it was about. I make a lot of money and this is glamorous, I'm my own boss, I can do this myself. I don't need to work a regular job. No one told me about what would happen to me after that first trick violated me, or when money was handed to me and this is all I was worth and it's $20 or $1,000. What I had to go through for that money is with me permanently for the rest of my life. Every face that I've seen, every perpetrator that's violated me, that's all with me for the rest of my life. How do you put a price on that? And had someone told me how it would affect me long-term with relationships, self-esteem, self-worth, just self, this would have been nothing that I would have ever entered into on a willing basis. So many people say we choose this life. We choose what we think the life is. Choice is really not what it is. It's what you think you have to do at the time, and that these are your only options. Had another option like breaking free been presented to me when I was 15 when it happened, this would have never gone as far as it did. But unfortunately it wasn't. So for 22 years, I was trapped in it, from escort services to stripping to street walking.
Wow.
Yeah.
But now you're giving back. Now you're breaking the
forward.
cycle.
Correct. Now I am. Yes.
That's got, I mean, to be a part of this documentary, to be able to spread this message, does it help heal a little bit?
It really helps heal a lot, actually. When I think about the work that Breaking Free does that I get to be a part of, and in the process of doing this work, I'm empowering myself by speaking the truth about what happened to me. It lets me see that I'm valuable. I'm very important. I am a beautiful person. I do deserve to be loved and respected. And it can happen with the proper programming put in place to help you see and begin to move forward from the trauma that you've been through. That's what Breaking Free has done for me and my family. You can contact us no matter where you are, international or domestic. That's a really unique piece about Breaking Free. You don't need medical or have some kind of financial support. And we even work with women and girls who are still actively involved in the lifestyle. And the reason for that is we know this is a process. Just like domestic violence, women don't just walk away from their abusers and that's the end of it. We know they go back. Same thing happens on this side. We know that our women and girls have to understand their worth. They need to understand that they have options and resources. And then once they start utilizing them, they have to be able to know that I'm okay. So we know that girls may fall back into the life, but we don't shut the doors on them. That's still our children. I mean, when your kid ran away and came back, you didn't shut the door on them. When they fell out in school or you found out they were doing drugs, you shouldn't have shut the door on them. Otherwise, where do you expect them to go? But to the predators. So no, breaking free is an open door. Girls come to us and get out. They may have stayed out for 5 or 10 years. And something happened traumatic to them, or a trigger happened and they fell back into life for a moment, but they knew they could call breaking free no matter what. No matter what time down the line that something may happen, they know the support is here, whether they've gone back to the life or not. That's irrelevant. That's a unique piece about breaking free. This is your program for the rest of your life, if you want it. And that's something that is very, very needed for this population coming out of this, because this is a lifelong process. I'm honored to work here because I get to see women grow. I get to see them fall and then reach a hand out to pick them back up, and they know that is genuine what we do here. This is from the heart. This is passion. This is not about numbers and a paycheck. This is reality. Things happen. You need people to help you see why it's okay to get up and move forward, and that's what Breaking Free does.
So we have a couple apartment buildings in one area. We got another apartment building in another area. And then we have transitional houses. We have 2 of them. They're just big houses. And then we have a satellite office in Minneapolis and one in Rochester. And then these 2 buildings. Mm-hmm.
And you say you have all this and you just think, I read a statistic, 400 women a year?
Yeah, between 400 and 500. Mm-hmm. And nobody, you know, they're like here in Minnesota, of all places, you know, but yeah, right here, there's between 400 and 500. But we work with women really from all over. But, you know, about almost 90% are from Minnesota. You know, we're pretty connected with shelter programs, and we do a lot of street outreach here in Minnesota. But we get some federal funding, so I mean, people know of our program. We do a lot of training all over the country.
Why is this such an issue here in Minnesota?
You know, that's the thing. And it's always been an issue because a lot of people think that nothing happens here. And it started way back in the 60s. Actually, it's always been going on. But I think it came to people's minds more in the 60s because it was so popular on the streets at that time. And so a lot of people come to Minnesota because a lot of people in Minnesota don't think this is not like New York or California or something like that. So this is an easy place to go to and to do some criminal, you know, to recruit young girls, because nobody thinks it's happening here, for one thing. But then we have Duluth, which is right on the porch there. You know what I mean? And there's trafficking happening there. People don't even think about that. I mean, we're right off of 94, or, you know, 35 goes all through the country almost, you know what I mean? These are easy access ways for people to come here and leave quick if they need to. So.
When we talk about trafficking, what are they doing? Are they taking young women from homes? What are they doing?
Well, basically what's happening is, at first, well, the average age of entry is between 12 and 14 years old. And so you have to think about that. If a little girl runs away from home, you know what I mean? What can she really do out on the streets, you know? Why does she run away from home? And we find out that 85% of the women we work with have been sexually abused before the age of 18. So what they do is they do run away from home, only to get out on the streets to find out that that's not a safe place. You know what I mean? That there's perpetrators out there, predators out there, just waiting, you know, to vamp down on them and recruit them into this life. Not even, I say recruit, but really force them. You can make a 12-year-old do whatever you want her to do. And especially if she's on the run, she's scared, she doesn't have anywhere to go. So a lot of it happens like that, but then it's so glamorized. I mean, we listen to the music, we watch TV. Sex is glamorized, period. In our country and the world, you know, and so a lot of young girls, it's just not uncommon to hear a 7th grader talk about, I can't wait to be a stripper and make a lot of money. These are some of the conversations that we hear little girls talking about. So we have to think about what's going on all around us in our world, you know, that would cause a young woman to get off into this life. Well, one thing is we have to educate. We have to let people know that this does happen right here in Minnesota, in our own backyard, and that it's no respecter of people. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, it's about buying and selling a human being. So how do we really combat this, though? We have to look at who it is. Who are these individuals that are purchasing these women and these girls? I always say it starts there, because if we can end the demand, then we can end prostitution and sex trafficking altogether. If there's no one that is buying, there's nothing to sell. So we have to look at who are these individuals that think that they can buy a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old. Who are they? And then we have to say, what do we need to do about that? How do we end that? Where does it start?